Hello everybody, welcome, thanks for coming. I think I've got 20 minutes. I think you're not going to learn half as much on this session as you did from the last few. There's a lot of content, a lot of learning. This is more like a sales pitch. But I'm not trying to sell my company's brand, although I'm using my company's brand as part of the story. The sales pitch is that for various reasons, the time for low temperature washing has already come and is being proven. And you see there are people in the room who represent some of these companies that offer this solution. Washing Systems, Ecolab are in the room, Christane's is a big stand downstairs, and others can do the same thing. So it happened to be that Washing Systems is standing here, but it's not about washing systems. It is that low temperature washing is here, and it is increasingly becoming the standard offer from the people who know those systems best, the people who specialize in providing washing solutions, systems, to commercial laundries. Okay? A little bit of the story here. This presentation today, the slides are the same slides that I used at the start of the year at the TSA's Energy conference, because the point that I'm going to make during the slides, and that was the point of that day, was the TSA has done an absolutely amazing job of putting together a scheme and making sure that we, our industry, benefits from the climate change agreement. And if you're looking for, as a commercial launderer, for a way to get that last little bit that ensures that you comply and that you get the full benefit of the climate change agreement, here's one. Implement your low temperature washing solutions, and this can get you where you need to go. So the purpose of this slide is clearly to impress you with our technical brilliance and to calm you all down. So anybody who had awkward questions, don't worry. We don't need to get awkward today. It's simple, we're all friends. Okay. And ClearPath is the words highlight there. That's our brand. That's the Washing Systems name for our approach, our standard offer to commercial laundries. And of course, it is enabling low temperature washing. That's not all it does, but that's the purpose of today's conversation. Okay. So what do we do in 20 minutes? Well, when we're finished playing with the technology, we can just sketch it out for you. We can show you how it should work. We can talk about how you start to make it happen. It doesn't matter whether Washing Systems is your soap supplier. The question is, how does a laundry get their heads around making this work? And we can show you some of the lessons from our experience, because our ClearPath approach, low temperature washing, it's not a lab experiment. This is what we're doing with all of our customers in the UK now. And Washing Systems started off as an American company. So Washing Systems is going back to all of its customers and getting all of its existing customers to switch over to ClearPath, because the benefits to those customers who already know us and love us, we like to think, it's significant and it's worth their attention. Okay. So this starts with a question, which is, what do you think before I start yapping about low temperature washing? Does anybody in the room have an existing opinion of low temperature washing, other than Ecolab, although I'll come to you shortly? Good? Bad? No opinion?
It has its place.
Okay, good. Anybody here just think it's the best thing since sliced bread?
Yeah.
Come on, Mike.
I'm listening.
You're listening.
I do.
You do? Well, that's good. Or, it's, yeah. So we can think of it as manna sent from heaven or best thing since sliced bread. Some people think it's maybe actually just a misnomer. Because who cares what temperature you wash it? What you care is, do you get the results out of it? Oh, by the way, you'd like not to spend too much money. So if we can do it at low temperature, is that the best way to do it? Okay. Well, the perspective of this talk is not that it is the best thing since sliced bread. The perspective is simply, if you're in a position where you've got to get your climate change agreement and get your energy costs down, here's a good way of doing it. Oh, and by the way, you can do it without capital costs. So from a standing situation, you don't have to invest 500 grand to get your results. Okay, so the point of the picture at top is simply the misname, that the coffee shop habit of saying, hello, madam or sir, what's your name? And they write that on your cup. And they're doing that to establish a relationship with you. And the misspelling is deliberate, because they want you to say, no, my name is spelt this way, and that's an excuse for a conversation. Okay, so the soap people are saying the same thing. We've got this ClearPath. It's a nice brand. What do you mean with the brand? It's an excuse for a conversation. Okay, so the label of low temperature washing gets us focusing on the low temperature. What I think we should be doing is making sure the thing works. Okay. So someone has suggested to you, you've been at an industry event or you've talked to your soap supplier and this conversation is happening about low temperature washing. Well, what for? What do I have to do to prepare for it? Why would I do it? Okay, the CCA has a good reason. Energy usage, efficiency. But what you need to do is be very clear about where you start from. You need a baseline. And most of these process improvement projects, going back to the subject of Roger's talk a little while ago, is that they fail somewhere along the line. And most of them fail at the start because they don't get the baseline right. They don't get the objectives right. They don't get the team briefing right. It's not 2 years down the road that it fails. It fails because you don't say, well, what do we use now? How much energy, heat, how much water do we use now before we make the change? Really use, not just we think we use this amount. You have to get your baseline very firmly set, and you need your soap supplier to make sure you do that. You need them to do a total and thorough survey to get, this is what we do in this plant, this day, this week, but more importantly, for the last year. So you take account of all the natural variation and drift that happens over that period. Okay. When you've got your baseline, then you look at your gaps and your targets, and as the gentleman in the back said, where does it fit? It may not be right for your dark blue boiler suits, which are just, they stand up by themselves with the mineral oil on them. We don't intend ClearPath for that solution, not in 2016, and we wouldn't recommend you start there. I doubt Ecolab would either. Okay? However, you will find that there are areas in your plant that can best benefit from this solution. And luckily, the spectrum, we're going to come back to that word, for the application, whether it's ClearPath from washing systems, all the alternatives, like what's your system called? Oxyguard. And Christine's nobody in the room? Cool Chemistry, I think, is their label. So you can see those things. They're downstairs. You can get a quick explanation while you're here. Okay? So you do your baseline. You figure out where you could get the benefits. Then you target the specific things that your business needs. Often that's about costs and efficiencies. Clearly, you'd like to maintain or increase your product quality so you don't lose out on one side while you're looking to gain on the other. Okay? And harking back to the first time you gave this presentation, if you use or switch your whole plant or a part of your plant to low temperature washing, you can secure your CCA benefits by saving an amount on plant costs. Okay? How much? Okay. I don't know. We do this for a living, we do it all the time, but the answer changes for every plant. What we're typically finding is 5 to 10% of current baseline plant energy and operating costs. And what we've seen is that can amount to something like £50,000 a year in savings on utility bills, for example. Okay. We're also seeing that people get this benefit a week. Once you started doing the implementation, once you've got your low temperature washing in situ, in your tunnel, you're starting to accrue that benefit from the following week. You haven't spent any money. It didn't take 6 months pre-planning. Sometimes you might want to have a look at how your detergents are dosed, but generally speaking, that's not the issue. So people get a quick benefit that continues to give with little or no upfront installation or investment, capital investment. So it's an easy win. The other thing that's worth noting, and applies not just to the washing systems version, is that it can work for each and every one of the sectors. Hospital linen, no problem. The last presentation, Mike mentioned CFPP, and the CFPP says, you do this, pages and pages of things to do, checklist, or you get certification to EN 14065. So if you go the EN 14065 route, you can choose any process you like. Sunshine, prayers. But once you've chosen it, then you have to prove that it works. And we are experts in proving that our processes and anybody's wash processes perform. And if you've got a garbage process, we're going to prove that that process performs or produces garbage. But ClearPath and the low temperature processes are well proven to get the same level of disinfection as the traditional 71 degrees thermal disinfection. Okay, and that's another misnomer. No one cares how we disinfect, but they certainly do care that the textiles coming out the other end are safe. Hygienically clean was the phrase that Mike used earlier. And I know Morris is nodding his head there. Well done, Mark. You're my tame audience. I'm going to bring you with me wherever I go. So it can be useful in various sectors, and it meets technical as well as commercial hurdles that allows you to market your business while you're saving money, which is an interesting position to be in, because tech often brings us one direction or the other. We squeeze the balloon on efficiency, and it pops out on quality. Now, luckily, that does not seem to be the case with this current generation of low-temperature washing solutions. Okay. We should probably talk about why. Why is that not a ridiculous claim? Because it could be. When the TSA asks us to speak, we're speaking on behalf of the TSA, not washing systems. But we can say whatever we like. Okay. Okay, well, these are the things that we're claiming. It's quite a long list of benefits. And then I'm going to talk about how I know this is true and why it is so. Okay. Improved reduced redeposition and dye transfer. That's a function of how good the soap is that you use, whichever supplier it comes from. And the fact that at lower temperatures, you're not shaking off as much of the dye in the first place. The lack of wrinkling, or the reduced wrinkling, that's coming from less change in heat, less change in temperature, and less rapid change in temperature. So this is fairly fundamental physics. The soap guys didn't invent that. At least they're not claiming it. Okay. Soil and stain removal. These are good washing systems from whoever the supplier is. The center circle has not gone away. You still need what we always needed before: time, some energy from hot water, some mechanical energy, chemical, and the rinsing effect from the water. You still need all those things. But the latest generation of low temperature simply produces much better action by the surfactants, the soaps, allowing the system to work better with less pressure. Basically, you get rid of the garbage early, therefore there's less hard work for the heat and other things to do in terms of killing bugs. Okay. Because we're washing at lower temperatures, laundries and textile manufacturers can introduce a broader range of fabrics, lighter fabrics, new mixes, to industrial use for the 3-year rental cycle for a garment, or for the 200 cycles to failure that you'd like out of your hospitality linen. Okay. Additionally, when you look outside the world of tunnels, and this is really interesting for the small to medium-sized commercial laundry or the standalone, it could be a big plant. But if a significant portion of the throughput is through wash extractors, then the low temperature washing gives those people a really significant opportunity to reduce the run times, reduce the water usage, get much better efficiency, much better capacity, or much better flexibility. So you use your tunnels for your volume, and you get much better processing of your weird and wonderful odds and sods through your wash extractors. That takes you less time, less operator effort. Okay. The plants that we installed ClearPath in first in North America, this was what excited them most. They could replan their entire plants because they were freeing up so much capacity without making a capital investment. Okay. The next point I've slightly covered, the point is that low temperature washing can disinfect just fine. When people talk about chemical or thermal, well, they're getting religious on you. They're telling you their particular faith. What you should care about is that, do you get the stuff clean? Does it look good? Do the customers like it? Oh, by the way, is it going to a food trade premises or to a hospital? Then it better be safe. Prove it. And we know how to do that, and we're doing it successfully time after time. And my personal career has been mainly about the standards that were in Mike's presentation. So the new EN 14065 standard is entirely compatible with these processes, and that's the framework. If you're going to do ClearPath for a regulated market, whether it's garments or whether it's healthcare or operating room textiles, you do it with EN 14065 and your good package from the reputable detergent supplier. Okay. The last item on that list is stock purchase cost, and it's last not because it's least, it's last because it's indirect. Your purchase costs are not going to reduce because you introduce low temperature washing. But if you introduce low temperature washing and you do it right with good support from a soap supplier, you will damage your textiles much slower. They will last longer. Now, when you know that your textile is going to last longer, then you can reconfigure a lot. You can reconfigure your annual replacement purchase plan. You can reconfigure your rental contract, which was due to end after 3 years with an average garment processing of 50 per contract. Well, you can go 4 years and 65. You can replace your linen costs. Instead of trying to replace 8% a year, you can plan to replace 6% a year. That's money on the bottom line, and it's pretty significant. And it wasn't actually the feature of the presentation when we discussed it in January, so we haven't done separate slides here. Okay, the soap guys have said what makes them so fabulous. But all we're trying to do is paint a picture and sell the idea that low temperature washing is realistic now, and it's not an experiment. It has been proven, it is being proven by the people in this room across some of the people who are walking around downstairs. It is the standard offer for by washing systems to its existing hospital, hotel, and workwear customers. How do you make that work? This goes a little bit back to a previous slide talking about the baseline. So you need to do that, get the baseline. You need to look at Pareto analysis. You need to say, okay, where is the real benefit? Let's not try and solve all our problems in one day. Where's the really most important thing that we need to sort out? This line or that line, or white table linen, or coats, or whatever the issue is. Then you really need that soap company to do their job on the survey so you get your data right. And then you need to implement it. Now, the good thing about these systems is there's no capital investment. So you can implement it over a week. Maybe a month is more realistic. But it is not something that takes a long time, just takes preparation. One line at a time, I mean one tunnel, or one bank of washers at a time. And you do your core processes first. You do it on the processes that you spend most time, or the process that produce your highest volume. Because even if the percentage saving on that formula or that classification is small, that'll play out across your whole business and give you space to work on the rest of the business. Okay? So obviously you do that in partnership with your soap supply, and obviously you need a project plan, just like Roger was presenting earlier. Why does it work? Now, to us soap nerds, this is the key part. But to someone who runs a laundry who's interested in industry, it shouldn't be your main concern. But you do need to know. We are using really good surfactants. They're highly concentrated. And we have found, and our brand is called Spectrum, a surfactant combination that works from 35 degrees up to 75 degrees. So you don't need one soap for one line and another soap for another line. One simple set of soaps does everything. Okay? We, washing systems different to the other guys, have our unique bleaching method. A lot of people are slightly different. And ours uses chlorine at low temperature. And that means chlorine works very, very well on the range of bugs we're interested in. It is very effective at destaining. And if you use it at lower temperature and lower pH, you're not damaging your textile. So when you combine those two things together, that's the recipe that washing systems use for low temperature washing. Other companies are a little bit different, but it's the same kind of story. We have to read this one. And this reiterates what we talked about, where we're trying to get here. These are the impacts, the technical specification we're looking for. I'm stopping there. This is the key to the washing systems version. The way we do the bleaching means we get a 100 times faster rate of inactivation of the pathogens, thermophilic, sporing, nasties. Okay? So if you're getting 100 times faster, you can get a much higher level of safety at that lower temperature. Okay? And because it's a good bleaching system, you're getting excellent stain removal. We're essentially done, but I'm going to quickly just point out it's really simple. That's what happens in a tunnel. Low temperature at the start, medium temperature in the middle, and whatever temperature you want at the end to get your optimum extraction and drying process. Okay. In a wash extractor, as we mentioned earlier, you have the opportunity to save a lot of time, not so much in what the person programs in and keys in. It's not in the software. It's in how much time you don't take to heat up water. Okay? And I've covered this already. This is not what we're experimenting with. This is Washing Systems' standard offer, and I think you'd hear similarly from the other detergent suppliers at the moment. Okay? So its time has come. Thank you.